Welcome back to Cure for the Common Game. Today, in deck number 780, we're going to talk about Krydle of Baldur's Gate. I guess this is the first of many cards that are talking about Baldur's Gate. We'll see more of those next year, apparently. So for a blue and a black, we get a 1/3 human elf rogue. Whenever Krydle deals combat damage to a player, that player loses 1 life, mills a card, you gain a life, and scry 1. Okay. And then whenever you attack, you may pay 2. If you do, target creature can't be blocked this turn. So, this leaves this wide open. Now, if I probably would have gone the combat damage route if it said gain 1 life and draw 1, but it's scry 1, and of course we like draw better than we like scry. I mean, it's going to happen, but so I ended up a long way from where I started, so we'll tell you where I started at. So I was like, well, when you attack, so that means you can spend 2, target creature can't be blocked. We can target Krydle here and maybe get a commander damage win. So I was like, all right, Black Blade Reforged, just because you're gonna play lands as part of the game. Maybe a Grafted War Gear. I need that Swiftfoot Boots to protect it. Winged Boots to give it flying and ward, so sure, why not? And then I was like, well, I'm playing black, so I have access to cranial plating, but I don't know if I have enough rocks, artifacts to justify playing cranial plating. So I said, well, let me go through and do some mana rocks and see where that gets me. It got me there. So we have Mind Stone, Silver Mirror, Charcoal Diamond, Leaden Mirror, Ethereum Sculptor, which helps the cause, Armillary Sphere, Ornithopter of Paradise. These mana rocks that are also creatures kind of help with, maybe strapping some of those equipment if we don't have our commander out, right? Hedron Crawler, Sky Diamond, Palladium Mirror, Foundry Inspector, Dimir Keyrune, Dimir Locket, Burnished Heart, Commander Sphere, Darksteel Ingot, Dimir Cluestone. I really like these rocks that sacrifice. I'm sure you've noticed that by now. The rocks that sacrifice to do a thing, like to draw a card or to get lands, or the Hedron Archive, Dreamstone Hedron, Seer's Lantern, Sisay's Ring, and Spectral Searchlight. So that was enough to make the cranial plating valid. And then I was like, well, I'm that deep already into artifacts, so let's see what else we can come up with. And the Efficient Construction, fit right there. I'm going to be casting a ton of artifacts. Maybe I play the Manifold Key to untap some of those artifacts. Termod's Crypt's just a good utility. If nothing else, we'll get there, right? This matters for a thing later. We'll go ahead and do it now. The Maddening Cacophony. There is a slight mill element to our commander, but milling 1 is not, we're not getting there with milling 1, right? And probably we're not getting there with Maddening Cacophony, but if we can Maddening Cacophony someone and then crypt it away, hey. But also, I liked the fact that it helps out some decks. So that's a tool you have at the table if you see someone who's operating out of a graveyard deck, and maybe you can buy a little goodwill. But then we're solidly in blue-black artifact, right? For no apparent reason. So Tezzeret Master of the Bridge, creature and planeswalker spells you cast have affinity for artifacts. So that takes us to, creatures like Sharding Sphinx or Mirror Retriever to get something back when it dies. Baleful Strix is, an amazing magic card. Shimmer Mirror, that flash. I'm liking this Filigree Attendant from MH2 because it flies. That's something. Psychosis Crawler, it's an artifact creature. It's probably going to be decent because we're going to be drawing some cards. Stuffy Doll, everybody's favorite artifact creature, right? And then Sphinx Summoner, to search for an artifact creature, reveal it, put it in your hand. So it's an artifact creature tutor on a 3/3 flying body. Not terrible, but not amazing. Now, Glacian's amazing if you've got Tezzeret out and he has, an affinity. But let's look at what Glacian does. Presumably you're doing this at the end of the turn before you. You tap X, untap artifacts you control. You look at the top X cards of your library, put one in your hand, the rest into your graveyard. So you're filling up your own graveyard, right? What are you filling it with? Probably artifacts. So artifact creatures we can go get with the Skeleton Shard and bring them back to our hand. Maybe we just want to leave them there for the Mirrodin Besiege and get the win. I'm sorry. Target player loses the game. Argivian Restoration, good with artifacts, as is Rebuild. But let's look at some card draw. We have Opt, Courier's Capsule, Thoughtcast, Factor Fiction, and Prosperity. And I know what you're thinking. Prosperity is not that amazing because everybody draws. Do they? Narset says maybe not. And then I had Narset, so I kind of wanted to put the Days Undoing in there, which is, I know. It's a really, really terrible thing to do, and it's what Sheldon warns us about, the wheels with the one-sided wheels. I know it's bad, but I also know I couldn't resist. Now, Extract Brain, without paying its mana cost, maybe we get lucky here. And then Hostage Taker. These two were in the pre-con, and target creature artifact, so we can steal some artifacts there. So let's look at our removal. Of course, the Executioner's Capsule, because it is an artifact on the board, as well as Nevernal's Disc. Just a great card. Murder, of course, Arcane Denial, Negate, and Counterspell. And then the Whelming Wave is going to bring us to our non-basics. Starting off with that cool Evolving Wilds, Command Tower, Terramorphic Expanse, Temple of Deceit, Drowned Catacomb, Choked Estuary, Darkwater Catacomb, Dreadship Reef, Ice Tunnel, Jwaral Refuge, Dismal Backwater, Submerged Boneyard, Dimir Guildgate, Seat of the Synod. We're trying for the artifact theme, right? So the Mistvault Bridge and the Power Depot as well. I know there's a couple more I could have used if I had access to them. Dimir Aqueduct. And lastly, Rogue's Passage. And yeah, I know that was did not have to be artifact themed, but I just the commander thing with possibly making the commander unblockable just kind of led me down that road, and one path to another, you know what I'm saying? So let's go put 780 on the wall and complete this row. That is it. I do appreciate everything getting back on the roll. I almost messed up my streak, didn't I? So far, I have, this is 100 and something days, 20 to 120 days in a row of daily videos, daily content. So we're going to try to keep this streak alive as long as I possibly can. And it feels like I need to, because I need to do a deck a day in order to catch up. Anyway, I do appreciate y'all watching. Thank you so much. But we're going to go ahead and shuffle and cut.